Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the rationalinvestor.com's daily brief recap. Dun dun dun. Here we are on Friday. TGIF. Maybe we'll wait for the YouTube page to kick in here. Oh, looks like it's kicking. Here we are, and it has kicked. Yeah. Oh, I got the hiccups. Wonderful. All right, let's see. It's TGIF. Thank God it's Fridays. We're coming in full steam. Of course, we got the big fundamental event for Bitcoin coming up here on the 12th, the halvening event. Good to see we haven't crapped out ahead of that halvening event, so no like pre-market pump and then collapse. But be forewarned. I've seen this numerous times, whether it be Litecoin, whether it be Bitcoin. I've seen these pre-halvening rallies happen, and then all of a sudden there's just a big pullback that catches all the latecomers off guard. So just be aware of that. But long and short of it here, crypto is still enjoying a very nice bid. And we had on Fridays, we have on Colin, sort of our in-house crypto specialist. And we got a ton of crypto specialists on the site, so it was almost like a communal conversation. People go, hey, this, whatever. Anyway, I thought it was a really good episode we had today, and then of course a couple sort of overview thoughts, and Brian throwing in his 2 cents everywhere. Please don't chase. I know everybody in the public is going to get FOMO'd in up top here. We might see some violent price action all around the next few days, and the long and short of it, from my perspective, is this very much is the end of this move, not the beginning. What really bothers me, and it's unconscionable, is now mysteriously all of this sort of hedge fund higher ups and all that crap. They're coming out now and starting to say, oh, Bitcoin's going to $1 million. You better go buy all your Bitcoins, right? And basically playing the public really badly. Very disappointing. So don't be surprised over the next few days, in the media and stuff like that around the halvening event. You're going to hear a lot of hype. But the problem here, of course, like I said, is if you look at the price chart, it's like straight up, and the price is, almost tripled. Let's call it an easy double. I think I've told you in recent videos, I was super pleased to hear about people saying banging out doubles and stuff from recent purchases. And Kevin, of course, showed you his kick-ass 88.6 buy there. So those people that had the cojones to step in off the bottom, they're getting paid right now. And they should be paying themselves. This is hard work. Pay yourself. Anyway, I'm not quite sure why I started the video off on that tangent, but there you go. Just an update. This is our last video before the Sunday broiler chickens offering, and we have an education program on the site that quite often, actually, I'll just send out tweets with the actual link, so you can come and check out the education program at your leisure. Usually in these tweets, if I do something along these lines, usually the link I have is /learn, but I don't seem to have it in here. Maybe that was a little while ago. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, usually I put out the link in these tweets so you guys can just check out the school program. I thought I had it handy here. Here we are for this UBIC win. So we have this level 1 program coming up, which is basically an introductory program. Gets you up to speed with building your trading plan, understanding what type of trader you are, so framing your expectations. And then, of course, that will clearly define what type of risk taker you are, what time frame you're working off of, etc., etc. Also, too, in this level 1 program, our primary goal is to get you to leave the program with 2 trading setups. The bot and the L Tangonator, 1 range trade setup, 1 trend continuation trade setup. And in essence, by the end of this level 1 program, you should be able to start your small business of trading with all the sort of key components. So I highly encourage people to go through this. In fact, our higher octane futures trading, options trading, to actually even be a part of that education program, you have to go through this level 1, because I have to make sure you actually know what the heck you're doing and understanding this whole thing called the process. So I've been talking quite a bit, and you can just, therationalinvestor.com/learn. You can come and read more about this program if you'd like. But we basically have a new school term starting this coming week. And I've been announcing it in these Broiler Chickens shows and these daily brief recaps that we are raffling off a seat for this upcoming term. Most of the people have actually done what I've asked, in that if you would like to be a part of the raffle, hit the like button, subscribe, ring Colleen's bell, all that kind of fun stuff for YouTube. But maybe just drop your name in the comments section, if we look at one of these videos. A lot of people are just simply writing down in the comments, as we're recording this right now, so it's private. But you guys know how this game works. So just write your name in the comments field there. Brian, I would like to be part of the raffle. And we'll be more than happy to add you, fairly, based on like a raffle of like a lottery or something like that. The odds of you actually winning this raffle are actually pretty good, because there's only a few hundred people in the raffle. So statistically, your odds actually are pretty good. Anyway, if you would like to be in the raffle, please leave your name, and we will add you. And Sunday, on the Sunday show, we will do the official draw. So that's just an FYI on all that. Sorry for taking so long. Okay, looking at the broader market, I'd like to give you just a nice simple overview. And actually, I'm hearing people say that they kind of like this nice, simple, clean, just boom, 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 boom overview of what the market state is right now, what I'm thinking, and where I'm positioning myself. So, we always want to start off with just a quick boo at the hegemony product of the world, the benchmark US dollar index, and gee whiz, what a surprise. Our coil, our range, is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. With regard to this sickness, I'm hearing more and more that the United States and a lot of these Western countries in Europe and stuff are opening back up. So maybe it's one of these type of things, sell the rumor, buy the news, or maybe it's going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news. Tough to say, but we definitely have a catalyst here. Considering we are in the middle of May now, you know what the fundamental driver for Bitcoin is. Would it surprise us? Should it shock us that we should be, thinking about seasonal tops coming in here, and for the market to take a swoon into the normal seasonal trough into the end of June, beginning of July? That's what normally happens anyway. So now that we have all these economies opening back up, and now all this uncertainty, and do we start to see the sickness numbers start to ramp up again? And if that's the case, then I think US dollar is going to crank back up. Equity markets are going to crank right back down. And we go through this whole process all over again. As it stands right now, I think the jury's still out. So we just sort of have to wait. And as you can see, the range is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. If we look at specifically risk on, risk off, been sort of talking on the site recently that it feels as though the stock market itself has been basically consolidating. Our breadth indicator, a lot of the euphoria. Remember, we got up to like breadth of like 90s. That's ridiculously overbought. So a lot of the broader market is sort of cleaning itself up as we're going through this process of sideways, markets getting less overbought, etc. Interesting to see, and we'll talk about it a little bit more in a bit, but junior stocks are still enjoying a nice friendly market, and you can see relative to the big stocks, they're actually upticking here today. And then, of course, like I've said before, I think I've shown you this, but I don't know whether I have it here or not. Bitcoin's still, in my eyes, a leading indicator. And because of that, like coming out of that big government bailout, wherever the hell the damn chart is, I don't think I have it on this deck. I ran into this problem a couple days ago, didn't I? Where are you? Nope. One of these charts, we'll hit it eventually. It's around here somewhere. Hey, there it is. Yay. Bitcoin keeps pressing higher, and coming out of the big bailout, Bitcoin first bottomed. It actually dragged the stock market up with it. Bitcoin puts in more bottoms on like divergent signals stock market. Bitcoin charges higher, dragging the stock market higher. As long as Bitcoin keeps pressing higher, I can't see the stock market failing just yet. But at the same time, too, we have to understand sell in May and walk away. We have to understand that the pros are paying themselves on these rallies. And, I'll show you an example of me getting paid here in the market recently. So with that said, of course, we got big halving event coming up here. Does this top out? As long as Bitcoin keeps making higher highs and higher lows, there is no top here. And, a big part of Colin's conversation today is don't get to be in the business of calling tops. It's actually extremely dangerous to your health to get into the business of saying the market will do this, the market will do that. You might be right a whole bunch of the time, but when you're wrong, oh boy, will the public ever rub it in your face. So I don't think it's in anybody's interest to get into the business of calling tops. Now, if this does M out and we are done, well, so be it. Then after the M's come in, we can start, all right, do we want to start strapping on hedges? Do we want to be liquidating our long positions? FYI, I run a little deribit trading program here with some guys locally, and we've just collectively decided, we basically stepped in on the buy side here, and we're playing the call options. And in our meeting, we have a weekly, once every 2 weeks meeting, we just decided that, hey, we have an annualized return for our fund of 30%. And if you can do an annualized rate of return of 30% year in, year out, you've beaten more than 90% of all investors ever. So we already have an annualized return. Right now it's at about 45%. Is it maybe in our best interest just to go to cash and then just wait for some more FOMO wrecked talk? This market. You try to tell me sometime between now and the end of the year there's not going to be any FOMO wrecked talk? I don't know. Is that maybe not thinking realistically? Anyway, long and short of it here, that particular plan, we've decided just to cash out and declare victory, which is actually really difficult for a lot of people to do. We've had other people that are trading these setups. And again, I'm getting way off topic here. So maybe, I'm not going to go down that road. Long and short of it here, market's working higher. We'll talk about the Bitcoin chart in a moment when we get to this. Oil, probably stalling up against that 38.2. I like the idea of an inverted head and shoulders that's going to develop here over the next month or so. We've seen so many fireworks out of oil right now. Actually, what wouldn't surprise me is if actually that oil market goes absolutely dormant and nobody talks about it for like months. We'll see what happens. I mean, there's certainly no trade for me here, and I've told you I'm not really interested in oil anymore anyway. Bond market, hurry up and do nothing. Massive issuance of government debt, but in the face of absolutely horrific econs. We had the employment report come out, and I tweeted it out, and look at this. It's ridiculous. How do you even respond to something like that? So this is the jobs report, and I got the impression, what I've heard from a lot of pros listening to various different interviews. There was a really interesting one by Zell the other day. I thought that was an interesting commentary. And he just simply said, it's not really like there's a whole bunch of new buyers coming into the market right now. It's actually nobody's doing anything. And in that kind of vacuum where sellers don't want to sell until prices get back up top, but buyers don't want to buy until we're at huge discount prices, we just sort of drift in a vacuum, and that's sort of his impression. I'm feeling a lot of that in the market right now. So, interesting how the bonds are just going sideways here. I don't like investing in bonds because you think about what investing bonds is. If the government is coming out and saying we are going to print shitloads of currency, buy Bitcoin, then that must mean that the value of a dollar given to the government today is not going to be the same as the value of a dollar you get back 10, 20 years from now. They're telling you that they are going to dilute the crap out of the currency. So I think investing in bonds right now is a horrible idea. But anyway, it is what it is, and these bond prices are horrifically high and yields are terribly low, so that makes sense anyway. As for the gold, just going sideways after yesterday's sort of dead cat bounce. I wonder whether gold itself is, and I'm not going to call that a dead cat bounce. That's not the right term. This to me looks like a potential reversal here. The problem here is that I think that, digital gold, aka Bitcoin, is eating gold's lunch again. Bitcoin's seeing tons of money pouring into it. God, some big Paul Tudor Jones, Mr. Stock Market Guru, is now calling for $1 million Bitcoin. Why the hell would you buy gold when Tudor Jones is saying Bitcoin's going to $1 million? So, is he got a hidden agenda? Absolutely. But at the same time, too, what is the public rhetoric? People are talking Bitcoin. They're not really talking gold right now. Poor old gold bugs. Man, they just can't buy a break these days. Nothing really for me to comment here. We'll say that the few gold stocks that I do have on the books, I've been noticing that they're getting bid up lately. So, on balance, gold, I suppose, is going to do its thing. And ultimately, I wouldn't be surprised if it's $18, $19, $2,000, $2,500 at the end of this year. I'll leave this sort of lower time frame trading to Julian. He's having lots of fun trading gold. And, of course, if you want to learn more about that, maybe consider joining the site. So specifically in Stockland, what are we doing today? As you can see, the junior market's still enjoying a pretty nice bid. And after this W, so how ironic, the market is going to probably climb the wall of worry here, as they say. And, a really good example of how crazy these venture cap names and the stock market can be. Yeah, lo and behold, I went and doubled my money here on this Mara. So, walked you through all this in the public, so you can't say that there isn't a guy out there trying to teach you how to do this, and there's no reason all of you couldn't have done this. But at the same time, too, you have to understand that, this is a winning trade. It worked. There are going to be losing trades. And it's not like I'm right 100% of the time. As you guys have been watching this video series, you see I have winners and losers. It's just the way it goes. Here's an example of a winner. Make darn sure to pay yourself. Basically, I've sold half of this position at double my purchase price, so technically I have no risk on the rest of the position. And as I sort of put out in a tweet today, I would actually like to be a shareholder of this indefinitely. Maybe one day they actually might get their act together and actually maybe have a dividend or something. And it's on the books and just spits out dividends years down the road. But anyway, as it is right now, I have no risk on this trade. And I certainly, I definitely think you have to take some profits, right? You have to be selling into seasonal strength. Whether you sell the whole damn thing because you don't want to get mixed up in these NASDAQ bulletin board sort of, delisting, same crap that happened in Trex and altcoins. You don't want to have that headache, fine. Take total profits, walk away. For me, like I said, I'm a risk taker. I'm a gambler. I'm on a risk-free trade right now. The money's back in my pocket. And I'll just see where the wind blows us. Should be a fun ride. But really good example of what I do. Speaking specifically about the corn, and as we sort of talked about here recently, I don't think it's in anybody's best interest to call a top here. The market will simply top when the market tops. It's just simple as that. We've been talking, of course, recently in public broadcasts about this consolidation and how we've resolved to the upside. I mean, you could argue that's going to be a big bull AB equals CD. That should take us higher. We had a little bit of a pullback after we tagged the big fat round number, and if that's something you've never heard before, write it down. Remember, I'm trying to help you here. Usually, and it's weird how the public, the talking heads and stuff like that, even when they ask people on financial channels and stuff, they always say, round numbers are meaningless. They don't mean anything. And I have clearly learned in my 30 years doing this, markets always get sucked to big fat round numbers. You can set your watch to it. Why they don't talk about it more in the public, I have no idea. So I think I even remember a few days ago saying, we're pressing higher. I don't see any reason why we can't hit the big fat round number here. It's a magnet, and that's exactly what's happened here. And interesting to see, I think you could basically make the argument that we're probably just going to like oscillate around this big fat round number, because that's what markets love to do. So, where is 10,000? 10,000 is basically right there, right? So we are going, and this is fun, right? We went, oh, no. Then up above, and then no, back, and then up to it, and then back, and then up above. This is exactly what markets do. It's just so cliche. Is this the top? Well, nobody really knows. I will say, if you can clearly see the potential here, if we go up, down, up, and then break down below here, then I'd say, okay, well, your top's in. As it stands right now, we're still pressing higher. You can see she put in a little W here, but the problem with this is a terrible trade location. We want W's at the bottom ends of consolidations. When you start looking at a W at the top end of a consolidation, top end of range, my bot setup, I want to see a third low test this bottom, and then I can turn up and be confident. If we just get two lows here, we rally up against these highs and then roll over. This is actually a bearish harmonic pattern. And it actually looks something along the lines of, thought I had it on here. Maybe I got rid of it. Isn't that funny? I totally thought I had it on here. I think maybe it's over here. Nope. Oh well. Oh well. Well, anyway, I did draw a bear. Oh, here it is. Hey, I found it. It's the last one. So this is actually what they call a Gartley pattern. And the Gartley likes to see a 61.8 fib retracement, then a deep pullback against the lows, then rallies up against 78.6. Notice that's basically up against this original market structure top. And then we roll over. So I'm not calling a top, but this is actually the same thing as we said the last consolidation. It wouldn't surprise me if there's guys, remember we said Kevin went in there and hit like 88.6s and made money on this dump here. It wouldn't surprise me up against this range. Those range hunters are thinking about shorts. It's not really a trade I'd like to do because, number one, we've got that big fundamental event ahead of us. So do I really want to step in front of that? And then number two, this is more of what my sort of inclining is. Inclining? Is that a word? I don't know. I'm thinking bullish, right? And hunting bullish setups. And I like the idea of being long off this sort of 89 level here on max. And we've hit move stop to trailing levels. So now we're thinking about where do you trail stops against previous lows. But ultimately looking for a stab up top. This is a bit of a conservative bot. Perfectly realistic, perfect logical. You can see that ironically enough, all this is really going to be is just this original market structure trend line. You can see how the market respected it there. And so basically a market would sort of test the underside of that trend line there. Totally realistic. There's nothing wrong with that kind of thinking whatsoever. And then, if we actually zoom out a little bit, and this is sort of the one that I've been sort of telling the public a bit recently, is I think there's this really big setup working off of like the 4-hour basis. And right now, they've just been told to move your stop to scratch. So in essence, this particular setup going long from about 9,200. And really what this would imply is if we lose this trend line, right, that's going to dump below entry. I wouldn't be surprised if this little harmonic that we talked about fires and we actually dump against that trend line. And keep in mind, that's like 9,400. That's 10,000. That you could easily see a 600 point pullback in price, and people would be like, this kind of action here. But I don't think that would actually necessarily break this setup. This setup would still just be working away. But that's obviously putting the cart before the horse. As it stands right now, I just simply like the fact that as long as we keep painting higher highs and higher lows, it's a bull market. And if you see price up through this high of 10,183 over here on OKCoin, Keep in mind they're a little bit premium to the spot market, cash market. Over on Stamp, what's that high? $10,074. I mean, hell, where are we now? We're at 99.83, so that's about $100 roughly. You see the market up through the top there, then you know the bull's still very much in control. And then if we sort of like to think about, okay, is this market actually getting ready to stop moving up? We're still in that third sort of noob, woohoo, move, W above the RSI overbought level. Everybody on the site loved when I did that the other day. So I don't see any stop here, but if this purple line's broken, then you know, okay, the noobs are getting their hearts broken. And then if we see an M come in, that'll be our first M saying, all right, the bulls are officially on pause. We're not there yet. And don't be surprised if there's even another little pop higher here as we sort of finish these bullish bought objectives. This is a very uppy looking market still. So, okay, I think I've been talking way too much. You heard the blings in the background. I wouldn't even be surprised if Kevin's kind of like, Brian, this is getting a little ridiculous here today. But we'll just finish off your sort of free offering with a quick boo at the Alts. I mean, look at this ZRX. This is even in US dollars, not versus Bitcoin. Wow. You know, and everybody, please learn this. You can do this on your own, or you can come to the school and be very, you know, handheld, walk through the process of learning this stuff. But holy W's, Batman. And then you get like W's within W's. And then bigger W's. I mean, and then you get even more little W's within the bigger W's. I mean, and then this is the end result. Kapow! Right? This is exactly like Mara. Chart looks exactly the same. And it's just such a great illustration that there's always a bull somewhere. Hell, you can even just trade these perp indexes. I've literally talked you guys through this entire trade. Where the double bottom came in, the bot level tells you to buy. Move your stop to scratch. Move your stop to trailing. Remember we said the other day, probably have your stop below that. And you can see we're just charging our way up to the target level. Isn't that cool? I mean, damn. So, you know, actually both of these setups we teach you in the school program. You can do it in the stock market. You can do it in crypto. You can do it in the big commodities. Rinse and repeat. Have some fun. Running your small business of trading. All right, everybody, I think I'll leave that at that. So look forward to conversations on Sunday and the big draw raffle. Should be a really cool video just to see what the heck price did over the past couple of days since this video. And, of course, get us ready for the big happening event. All right, everybody, have yourselves a great day. All the best, and bye for now.